Good evening. People forgot how to greet you. They thought they just, good evening. I was talking
They didn't know it was interactive. They didn't know it was interactive.
This is an interactive talk. For the first part, it will be mainly Kika and I interacting, but I'm the kind of person that watches a movie and shouts out at the movie. So if you feel inspired to go, please do it. You will feel that when we talk right now. If you feel motivated to say, I really need to ask this question, let us know. Let us know. You can interject. This is a talk. Feminine Forward Talks. We are here in Las Vegas, Nevada during the week of MJ BizCon, featuring transformative discussions around healing, alternative health, plant medicine, lifestyle choices, and the evolution of wellness. How about that tagline? So I'm really passionate about transforming the way women experience well-being. And I love having a microphone in my hand. And so I think if I have a voice, I should use it. If I'm willing to use it, I will. And I'm passionate about talking about courageous topics. So this week, on this stop of the tour, we are talking about cannabis and all of the verticals. In this talk, I'm gonna be sitting here with my friend, my sister, my mentor, my partner in a lot of ways.
Come on.
Miss Kika Keith. This vertical we are discussing is retail. But you do so much more than provide a space where cannabis products are available for purchase. I have watched you organize, make some people mad, get in faces, sue, build, hire, create, develop an ecosystem that I like to call a mindful enterprise. So let's get into a discussion about
Let's
that.
go.
Y'all can clap again. Okay, so I know you. But not everybody does. And so don't tell us like, oh, why you started Guerrilla RX.
Yeah.
Tell us who is Kika.
Well, Kika is first a child of God, because I truly believe, especially the movement that has happened in entering into this cannabis industry only has happened and has sustained me because I truly feel that it was a calling from God. This plant, unlike any other, you said it earlier, you said God's plant.
Yes.
There is not another commodity, product that you can purchase and grow and cultivate and be a part of the whole history of cannabis, the healing, the holiness. We just are having the opportunity to commercialize it. But if we miss the core, you know what I'm saying, you're going down a whole other direction. So I must put that is first, because the trials and the victories, I mean, everything that people said we couldn't do, we did. From passing policies to winning lawsuits against the city of Los Angeles, to being able to be the first Black woman-owned dispensary to open in Los Angeles. It happened because it was a calling. And so that comes from the center of who I am. I just have been blessed to be raised in the God-loving family. And I have amazing parents who
Amazing parents.
Yeah,
Yes.
who put me up on my love for Black people and my love for humanity. My whole entire life has been for the cultivation, and my father was Rastafarian. So
Yes,
we learned. I don't even remember what they called it back in the day, but it was always used to commune. When people would come at 3 o'clock in the morning and knocking on my parents' door, and they would sit. My dad was an attorney, and that was a part of the communing, the strategy building, the resources and the network, and the developing, building community was always centered around cannabis. So my mom calls it holy.
The peace pipe.
Indeed. So my relationship was my life, and I raised my children. I think that's next, is I'm a mother, and we look, and I appreciate you and the work that you're doing and what you're bringing a light to on women and the essence of who we are, our mothers. So I'm a mother of 3 girls. My oldest Kika is my counterpart in this business, my
KJ.
co-owner. You know what I'm saying?
Only I can call her that.
You talk about the power of agreement multiplying.
Yes, yes.
You know, when Tony mentioned earlier about it's important who you do business with and not just family or not just friends, but they have the added value and you share the same vision.
Yes.
What?
Yes, that's exponential power.
Come on.
Yeah, I love it when you talk about how your children are a multiplier of that power and that love.
Yes.
And that's the legacy.
That is.
Yes.
That's why I'm here. Because I saw an opportunity to not just create a legacy or generational wealth in terms of monetary gains, but how many of us have said, if I was in slavery, I would be, or what? Who would you be? You're Nat Turner? You're Harriet Tubman? Who were you? Were you in the field?
I was taking a nap. Taking a nap.
Who are you? And I think that's what I told y'all who my parents were.
Yes.
That's what defined me, and me recognizing this moment in time in history that we were in the legalization of this plant and the brand new industry. What? I know I learned as much as well studied as Tony is. We both are reading the same regulations at the same time. So therefore, if I go to Google or take the time to sit and go to Tony's workshops, move around, go to the county, I actually have the ability,
Yes.
to be for real. When we talk about equality, women, this, black, brown, whatever, in this industry, for real, if you study, you can play in any room. If you form working groups, I remember we used to be at Denny's with Cherie Franklin. We'd be at the Kids Were Asleep. We go right down on Crenshaw and Coliseum, 2017, because we knew we had to be ready, to the point that we were keeping binders and notebooks. Like, hey, there's a chance. We were hearing about the golden tickets.
Yep.
The council members
the golden
giving out
tickets,
before
like in Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Like you were going to open a chocolate bar and get a dispensary license.
Come on.
Yes.
But it was the truth.
It was an opportunity.
Look at the council members in Los Angeles that are getting indicted and getting going away, losing their positions. This shit was real. So you had people, the senators and assembly members, Reginald Jones Sawyer, Senator Bradford, Herb West, and all these black politicians, y'all. Now, you ain't seen this since Jesse Jackson times. You know what I'm saying? In that Rainbow Coalition where you actually had black leaders, not afraid, as Obama was, to be able to say, I'm running a black platform, and I have something in the law that was written that was to your advantage.
Yes.
Why? Because of the disproportionate harms by the war on drugs, right?
Whew, okay, so question number 2. That one was, who is Kika Keith? Y'all get it? Did you get it? Who is Kika Keith? Okay. I think she just told you who she is. But you also mentioned in there that you are the first black woman to own a dispensary in Los Angeles, California.
Yes. Yeah.
What does that feel like? What does that mean?
Good question.
Thank you.
What does that mean? Because I always say, when I say it, I feel humbled to not appear as if it's a boast. Because I do know the backs of those, Sister Samaya, that were not in the legal cannabis side and not with a license, but were a part of building this industry as well. And so I recognize that when I say first, not to forget those before we got to the licenses. And so there's always that a little bit of reserve when I just speak it. But I also understood why we desired to be the first. Because it was critical. I put everything in my power to run on turbo mode. I didn't care how many hours I was going to sleep, how many emails, how much I had to put on paper. It was really important for me to be able to, what we learned, we put on Cliff Notes, and we, in my dispensary, for 3 years, we were holding on to empty buildings, so it became the headquarters in the community where we were educating and registering folks. We registered over 250 social equity folks to get them qualified for the program. We did real work.
Because we talked about that earlier, holding on to a building, right? Tiana was talking about what that feels like in the early infrastructure. You had to have an address, so you're holding on to a building, and you held on to that building for 3 years. And to do so, mindful enterprise. See the theme here, y'all? See the theme? To do so, you had to turn it into a community hub.
Oh yeah, I felt like the Black Panthers or something in the movies. But just in the visual of what that looked like, because my property owner wouldn't allow us. Remember, I came from the food and beverage industry, so we wanted to turn, while we were waiting, let's be able to make some money. According to the lease contracts that we signed, we couldn't use it for any other use. And so that was when we decided we were renting and doing workshops and around in the community, and we were like, why don't we just use, this is still cannabis related, and yes, that's how we began to really
to be able to continue to hold onto the building and pay the lease and move forward.
Yes. yes.
And so you did talk about eventually licensing came, and then there were still hiccups.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Sure.
Particularly in the city of Los Angeles.
In the city of Los Angeles.
So let us be an example for how not to do things and now how to do them.
Yeah, you had to have a property to apply, and then it was first come, first serve. So they had 100 retail licenses, social equity, and you had to enter at 10 o'clock in the morning. You had to be the first one to type in all your information, and the numbering system was what determined. There was over 800 folks that applied, so over 800 people were holding on to properties. I started in 2018, and some trickled in, but everybody was paying millions of dollars. If you collectively add up, and I never even thought about a class action suit, but the collective loss the collective loss that occurred from the rents and all of the lawyers and all of those things to then be able to lose in the flawed system because they let people in early. Unfortunately, at that time, as organized as we were in a room with 30 people. We actually had to get Apple One temporary workers because we wanted the fastest people to type. And we partnered with a cannabis company and went downtown because in South Central, where we were located in the dispensary, the broadband is too slow. It is a big conversation about the digital divide, as we know, in South Central Los Angeles. And so then, if you have to be low income to apply, and you have to come from these neighborhoods that have the slower internet service, and you're at home about to apply, how can you compete with them white boys that were over here, you know what I'm saying, that had all these social equity strawman partners that actually had bots and had the ability to get in the system as if you were going for a Beyonce ticket or a pair of Nike shoes.
She said a Beyonce ticket. That's the golden ticket.
And then when you looked at the end, then you saw all these names that were associated to MedMen. Right? When you saw all these big groups and hunks, you understood that the things that we were saying would be a problem actually were. And so our foresight, when we got in this room, we actually rented MacBooks. And we had a screen record, because my thought was, I didn't think what would happen. But the thought was, if in fact we put it in and it cut off, we at least had a screen recording with the time at the top. So all 30 computers were screen recording just casually. And it just so happens that we were in the room recording the person that got in 10 minutes early.
Say that again. It just so happens.
And going back to, again, about God and the calling. So I will revert to the just so happened. We were in the room with the person that got in 10 minutes early, and we had a screen recording of us uploading his application 10 minutes before and getting the number one spot. And so then in lied, that community organized inside.
It activated something.
It activated. We organized. Everyone was furious, and we took that fury and continued to build and form the Social Equity Owners and Workers Association. We figured we needed to unionize, raise money together, hired an attorney, and then the city ended up settling for 100 additional social equity licenses. So myself and 99 others were then afforded the opportunity to open our doors.
What always gets me right here in the heart when you tell that story is that it wasn't about me suing to get my access, to get my license. It was about all of us. Like, no. This is about the entire community. We need 100 more.
Yes.
And those 100 more were very specifically assigned then.
The next 100 that were in line. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, once again, being a studier of our history, I know how we failed. I know what happens when you're the only one standing or only worried about self. Where do you end up? For our people, we know the stories. And so it was always a point of knowing what my own goals were. My reason for getting into cannabis was to be able to develop my community.
Yes.
I needed the additional revenue streams. My product, I'm selling it for $3. Whole Foods selling it for $7, but I'm only making 50 cents. I need a higher profit margins. That's why I came into this cannabis industry, so my for-profit could fund my nonprofit. Right? That was always my reason for coming into this industry. I didn't have to worry about selling my mom's recipe and the intellectual property. I'm coming in here to get the bag and have a continuous I assumed before I opened my doors, Tony, yes, getting a license and operating it as two different realities. The real catch.
Okay. The real catch.
The real catch.
So let's talk about the real catch.
Okay. okay.
Because you didn't just like get your license, open these beautiful doors to Gorilla RX, y'all. Beautiful. It's like a candy store of healing. I'm telling you, when you go inside Gorilla RX with a very well-trained staff, by the way. You didn't get rich overnight. You weren't like, oh, now we ballin'. You have how many employees? And how many are family? And talk about the ecosystem from that perspective. Okay.
We started off with 25 employees. We took on a different model. In the store, we stocked it like come from the health food industry, so we stocked it like a GNC. We had the signage up as if it was the vitamin section in the Whole Foods. And that same sort of relationship that you have, if you go into the vitamin section, I don't care, Sprouts or whatever, you're asking that person about some product or comparing what you already knew to something else you see on there. And so we made sure to train ahead of time. People in our community, 98% came from the community. And we made sure that they were prepared. I'm sorry, I lost your question.
I don't know. Just keep talking. It's a talk.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're talking about, how you've leveraged family, used family, enveloped family as a part of your ecosystem. And then, dive into the hard work with having that much staff and how it's not a get rich quick.
Now, that's interesting dynamics because I made a very concerted effort with my investor that I wanted it to be my brand. I really came in here to do a brand. I didn't come in here to get a retail store. I knew how to take a brand to market. I experienced that. I knew what that meant to be able to go into multiple states. And so when I ended up on this retail side, it put me in... Drop my
what were we talking about? Remind us.
Working with friends and family.
Working with friends and family. So I thank you, Kika. So I was very deliberate. I wanted to work with friends and family.
Yes.
Brought my nephew in.
That's what we're doing.
Brought my cousins in. Had them managing the store, the assistant managers, all of these pieces. They had worked at other dispensaries before. So I was like, we're building this as a family. But one thing that I learned once we opened doors is the level of complexity.
To owning a business, to owning a dispensary, to working with family and friends, or to all of that?
To owning a dispensary.
Okay.
And because I work with my family and my other businesses. But the amount of attention to detail.
That's required.
Because any move you make can shut your doors down. All that work and time you put into it. You are audited and reviewed every second of the day. That's what metric is, right? It is the overseer. And so there is not room for mistakes.
None.
It is not room for not checking people in with the right IDs. It's not room from a moral side of giving people the wrong information, right? Because there's a lot of different dosages on these products. This really is the whole food
say
store.
That
it really
again.
is. Like,
it is
you're
not
obligated.
Coming from a moral
there is a higher obligation to my community that I'm not the trap shop, so I'm educating you, but I have a higher responsibility to what I'm putting on my shelves and what, unlike any other product, is going through people's bodies. What? And it could go through their kids' bodies that find it. So the level of intensity on top of the fact of what you have to deal with on the freaking government relations.
Yes.
What?
While at the same time trying to truly serve a community and educate them and inform them with what you know to be true.
Yes.
But that the government licensing agency won't even affirm.
Yes, indeed. And so it poses all sorts of challenges. And so then this lovely picture of working with family starts to dissipate in, wait a minute, I got to make sure my doors stay open.
And make some business choices.
And make some business choices in an industry that no one around you has experience. Because even the people who have experience before you weren't in this part of the regulated industry, right? This is completely different than the medical days,
yes.
And the regulations. And so, you know, it forced us to narrow things down. And to put things in perspective, when we looked after 8 months in business and we made $2.5 million in revenue, but $2.1 million went to taxes, 1.5 of that to inventory, to your all of your overhead, your security, all of these things that doesn't exist in any other industry. My rent, I have a 1,200 square foot facility and my rent is $20,000 a month. And I'm in the hood. If you calculate those square foot prices.
Anybody do that math real quick? What's that square foot price?
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
It's not sustainable with the profit margins that you have in this industry, because 43% goes to taxes, right? And then you have your operating expenses, and then you're wondering why the vendors aren't getting paid, because there's no margins to even pay them, because you pay the taxes before you pay the vendors. Yep. So the vendors are mad at the retailers, but we all should be mad at the fact that they set us up in this industry thing.
You said 43%.
43%.
43% at the retail level.
We haven't even got to the federal level yet. I'm trying to keep my doors open because every month I pay my city tax, and every quarter, every 3 months, I pay my state tax. And if you are late on those payments, the penalty is 50% of what you owe.
50% of what you owe. So if you owe $20,000 and you're late, then you owe them $30,000.
Come on. Not to mention the void in information. Because how many people know when they start, and especially when you're talking about social equity, how do you know about a tech stack?
Right.
How do you know from going from manual operations and that was the family thing. Everyone's used to manual. But what happens when you have to really start for real thinking at a MIT or a Harvard level? Ooh. And you don't have the money because you're not making enough because you're paying the taxes to hire the qualified people to be a part of your team. Because in any business, that's what you do.
That's what you do.
Even if you're a CEO, you build a team and you have the budget to do it. So why are you cheating me anything else? Like, you got to run my business and have a management company? No, give me my budget to hire my team. Maybe I'll hire you. So all of the dynamics are different, and those are the things that each and every day, for real, you got to think and move and plan. Fortunately, I love this shit.
You love this shit.
I love this shit.
So I really want to talk about taxes and mathematics because my brain is going there, but I'm not.
Okay.
Yes. Because don't nobody want to talk about that.
And you're paying $18 a square foot.
Yeah. Okay, baby. Okay.
The market value is $350 to $450 to give anybody.
Come on, there it is.
Okay. Okay. I need y'all to understand that. Yeah, that's like a 600%
yes, indeed.
increase. Oh. You talked about the inside of the store and how you designed it, like, you know, this is the vitamin section and this is how we're moving through it.
Yeah.
And I talk about it like a candy store because I come in sometimes, if there's a new person, most of your staff knows me now, but if there's a new person, I'll just be like, oh, hey, I'm going over here, because it's just like a fun trip through the store. That promotes diversity, that shows awareness. Let's talk about how you incorporate that into your ecosystem. Diversity in your staff, diversity in your structuring of the programming, all of it.
Very intentional.
Yes, intentional.
At the beginning, even from the design, we hired a black woman to design our store, and she had never designed a dispensary before, but did big clients, Jocelyn Joy, big clients from HBO to the, you know, you name it, the big ones in experiential design, but came in and did the store to make it an experience.
It is an experience.
And the goal was, we're on Crenshaw Boulevard, and for those that you don't know, it's in the historic Leimert Park, Baldwin Hills, but we're right down the hill, at the bottom of the hill from Baldwin Hills.
And so when you're driving down the hill, it's like, here comes Gorilla RX and Gorilla University. Get ready. And then it's like, okay, no, they're coming in a minute. And it's like, look at this beautiful mirror. Okay, no, they're coming in a minute. It feels like Gorilla RX block.
That's
like,
the goal. That's the goal, to buy the block.
Hey.
That's the goal. That's why I'm in this cannabis.
That's the goal, to buy the block.
That's the goal.
And do what with it?
And provide a way for our community to have an example. Going back to what you asked about being the first, it is to be an example. And that's why we won't break, and that's why we don't compromise our integrity, and that's why we stand on truth, and that's why we really are about community in and out. You know, and we represent it by who we bring into the professional development we give them. And let me tell you, it's not easy. Because our people, when we talk about diversifying them, you know, I have a better understanding of why it's so hard to diversify. Because if you're not us, you don't have the compassion. And you don't have the understanding. That when this brother comes in and talks about the trauma that he just experienced on his drive over to work, and how then you expect him to come on this floor and sell or give good energy. You know, next thing by about the third or fourth time, he's out of there.
He's out.
But we understand if we don't do it, who will? And so then what are those holistic pieces? My mother is a key component of Gorilla RX wellness. It's not just Gorilla RX, we say that for short, but it is a wellness side. That's who we are. And so we have each of our team members has 3 sessions that they can sit, healing sessions, mental health, and build with my mother as a part of them being better when they get up on the floor. That's critical.
Wait, we're not talking about Nordstrom. You know, they got a bunch of money, and then they established a wellness program, and they gave the employees a healing space to go and lay down when you got a headache because they're already rich.
Right.
We're talking about establishing a model that from get honors the people who are contributing to building this dream, and establishing from get, out of every $100, $1 of it is going to wellness for my people. Okay, say that again. I think y'all missed it. Say it again.
Yeah, no. Just we felt that we saw the need. We were losing that attrition. We were losing our team members because of their personal traumas that happen every day.
Yes.
Or the personal traumas they were coming in with to the beginning.
And so you provided them with time.
Provided them with time with my mother for healing mental health sessions to be able to work through their traumas while they're coming to work. That's next level.
That's next level. That's every business should have that in its infrastructure, to hear it happening in cannabis retail and to know that it was intentionally set from the start and it's a part of the practice to make sure. And it also, I mean, it's just a smart, listen, we're talking about business too, because we like to make money and wear fly kicks and, you know, fly gear. So also, it keeps your employees. It lowers your attrition rate. It's just a good, smart, mindful move. And then you took it a step further, right, with the building next door.
Yeah, because damn. Great. Now we got you well, but now you got to know how to sell. You got to know how to do customer service skills. You got to know about the products. You know what I'm saying? You need to know what you need to do to elevate, because your elevation, I don't want to lose you. So you got to know how to be able to put in the work to be able to elevate within the structure. You got to do some extracurricular work outside of that. And it just wasn't working just talking to people. And I just looked at models. Toyota has that model. McDonald's has that model. And McDonald's University. Any corporation, in and out. Any corporation that has the ability to grow. And why I'm not doing this.
So you opened Gorilla University next door.
Gorilla University next door in an old dispensary.
Yes.
That the community came out and shut down a couple of years prior.
I don't think y'all heard that. So listen, she was holding on to the building for a couple of years because the city of LA was like, pay for this rent while you wait for us to figure this out. And then there was a dispensary that tried to move in next door. We'll just let you Google all that. And then when the opportunity came to say, let me expand this model and do what's right, I'm going to take that dispensary spot right there and I'm going to turn it into a university that teaches the skills and brings the people back and keeps them here.
Yep. hollers. Ain't nobody else doing it. We've been hollering a long time. City of LA, state of California, and all your legislation about equity, racial equity, justice for all of this shit they be saying. And they say they're going to set up education and business business licensing and compliance. Then they bring on people to do consultancies, and they use the money from the state, but then they never allows it to get to the community. And then what happens? We get run over by these predatory agreements and these predatory partnerships and these horrible jobs because of the fact that they never put up the resources to educate us. And so that
you decided to just do it for everyone.
I decided to build the house.
The house.
We call our dispensary the house that people built because, remember, I lost my opportunity. It was all of us that got that settlement to happen and be able to open the doors. And it was the community that comes out and shops and makes sure we're able to pay our bills and keep things flowing. And so the same thing with this space. We were just recently awarded a $3.3 million grant from the state of California. Senator Bradford put it through to acquire the building and to renovate it, to turn it into an actual dispensary where you'll get practical application. So learning the POS systems, inventory, metric training, all of those pieces from whether you're in the workforce or you are looking to elevate into management or ownership. And then just as well as a whole bunch of complimentary programs.
Yes.
You launched your Canna 101.
And 101 is at Guerrilla University by Club Kindness.
Yes, this is Jane. We just launched the
Compassionate Care. This is Jane Project, Survivors Without Access. Yes.
It's the house. So y'all come on over to the house because it will take a village for real. This is a love project. You know what I'm saying? Sheila, Kika, the team investing their time and energy right now. We've been holding on to we just got this award for a year, slowly renovating it ourselves. All that money came from the dispensary.
There is something that is something to say. Like this award just came, but the building has been built, made beautiful, been offered to the community, held workshops, had expungement clinics. I mean, this has been going on. And so now with this money you can just do so much more. But you were already doing it.
Because you had to have proof of concept, with everything to each level of the vertical integration that we're talking about. Before you step into this license side of things, prove your concept, understand it, go out and pitch it before you feel the pressures of starting in something you didn't know what you were starting, because you just will not know. It really changes every day, y'all. It really changes every day. And so take it slow enough to be able to utilize these moments, even at these conventions, like trial out your things, really understand what your market is, start to develop that before you launch and to get a license. And as much as they made us feel like, hurry up, they're all going to go away, they're not, because so many people are going out of business. And so that should be a testament to us that we don't have to hurry. What we do need to do is work cooperatively. And going back to that house of people built model, like I can't do it. Those two can't do it by ourselves. It really requires all. And the same thing in our business models. Like it has to be more than you putting a brand on my product. We got to work together to sell and move and have that cash flow and move with amongst all of us.
Yes.
And so I think that is the most critical lesson that I've learned. You can't do it without us working cooperatively. These stores that are coming up, the only way you really win on retail is if you had 12, 13 stores going, where you can move cash flow around, you can move inventory around, you can move marketing dollars around. So if you don't have that ability to do that, then we can actually form our own cooperative marketplace, y'all. It's really that simple, because the real people want the real products and the real people selling it and the real people interacting, the real people educating.
They want to buy from educated people. They want to buy,
Mark, this is not new. So that all of those millions of people before it ever became cool to go into a dispensary is really our market, right? And so when the whoever of the worlds come in for this old IG thriving moment, there's still a whole huge market that we can actually work together to take in. And so that's my call. That's the purpose of the training center, to have a place like the dispensary used to be. We got to have a place to congregate and meet. We have to have the ability to build and trial things out ourselves, because it's not the dispensary. You can come and smoke your products over there that you want to get in. You have a built-in focus group. You can try your product. All of these exchanges that we're able to do if we work cooperatively, and that is the only way that any of us will win. And that's my message for today.
No. I had one more question, but that's her message. Mic drop. I am going to ask you one more question.
Go ahead.
It's a big one, though. It's a big one.
All right, I'm ready.
What's it like to be a black woman in cannabis?
What's it like to be a black woman? Period.
Ooh.
I don't treat it any different. Yeah, I think that's the thing. If it was one thing people hate about me, the haters, because I don't give them a lot of room to say too much shit. Because I move with that level of integrity and love. And I don't hold no judgment. I don't hold no grudges. I literally make them disappear.
Yes.
And so I think that's the advantage of being a black woman in cannabis. Because goddamn, all the shit, turmoil, trials running through our DNA.
Listen.
What? That's not going to happen. And so I actually have found myself elevating.
Ooh.
And that is our motto: Black women get us higher. And then that is not to the exclusion.
And
of
my daughter wore it to school, and she got carded for it, and then I gave her a T-shirt that said the same thing, and she wore it the next week. That's how we move, and that is not exclusive. It is inclusive, and that's all understanding what the root is. Yes.
And where the focus and energy is, because we emit so much love. And so, once again, being God's plan, it's connected to love.
Yes.
So we winning.
Okay, because black women get us higher.
Right. I don't. It might be harder, but I'm not scared of hard. I'll be listening to Deion Sanders.
Me too. Oh, check my latest reels. It's all of Deion Sanders.
Right. And one thing that I love that he says is about he enjoys the process, winning, losing, people talking about you, whatever.
All of it.
I've learned, y'all. This is my fourth business. I've learned to enjoy the process.
Yes.
And expect that there's going to be hoops, and expect there's going to be fire, and expect there's going to be heartache and pain. That's part of it. Know that if you just stay with it, you always rise to the top. Without fail, you rise to the top of it. And I think black women are fortunate. We come from God-fearing families. Like we taught, that part is inbred in us. So there's just
we ready. We stay ready.
There's so much connection in this cannabis thing, y'all. Let's link up. Oh, and by the way, Black Women Get Us Higher on our website, GorillaRxWellness.com. And I say that not as a pitch, but the proceeds go to the training center.
Yes.
And so if you want to figure out a way to help, to contribute, go buy the gear. We are setting up apparel manufacturing in the back, where we're training community members, not only in cannabis, but other fields in the creative economy, to be able to live in this crazy world.
We're going to have a whole other feminine forward talk about mindful enterprise building. Kika Keith.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss
Okay, in case you didn't know, we are transforming the way women experience well-being.
Yeah, you are.
This is Feminine Forward Talk Show.
Bam.
Thank you.
Yes.